Alejandro Garnacho is likely to leave Manchester United. It's a breaking update coming through from a source related to Fabrizio Romano, the mastermind of transfer talk himself. Listen, an unnamed European club has come out and claimed they are interested in taking Alejandro Garnacho on loan in January with an option of buying him for £60 million. Deal or no deal? My name is Webb. Welcome to the United Sport. Guys, if you know me, you know that I take my rest so seriously. I wouldn't come out here early in the morning or late in the night, whichever way you look at it, to give you a breaking update about a 20-year-old prospect who has been messing up lately, but we all know he's young, but he's such a talent, Garnacho. Things are not going well for him. I wouldn't be here to give you this news. But listen, it's a credible source that is coming up with this. So, Colts Offside has reported that an unnamed European club has expressed interest in signing Alejandro Garnacho on loan from Man United in January, but with an option of buying him permanently for £60 million. Now, I've been trying to, internalize this and think through it several times, and I'm thinking, does it make sense to even think that Alejandro Garnacho, a club out there to have the audacity to come out and say they want Garnacho on loan and one could buy him for 60 million? And the club is not named according to Court Offside, but you do recall that a few days ago I mentioned personally here that Garnacho is wanted by Atletico Madrid. They would want to take him back. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the club. But let's even not get there. But listen, if you think about it, it's illogical because Garnacho at some point was Man United's best attacker. At some point, he looked like one of, if not the most promising youngster. He has got a lot of talent and potential, which we all know. But the fact that it can even be thought about. First of all, he was dropped from a squad. That's a huge thing for a manager to do. For a new manager to come in and drop you from their squad because your levels are not good enough. If you're a player who has been playing the way Garnacho was, played 16 games this season, scored 3 goals and assisted once. Thing is, if you are a player who has been that important for a club like Man United and a new coach comes in and they drop you from a squad saying you're not good enough to be in their squad, that's a very big vote of no confidence. It should it should send a shock wave into you and anyone who is related or concerned about you because it doesn't happen in football. How often do you see managers come and get key players, starting 11 players, and drop them out of their squads after playing them for a few games? It shows there is big issues with you. It shows you've got a lot of work to do to improve yourself. It shows you've got you're not as good. You're not all that. Let me just put it that way. It shows that you're not really all that. Now, if Alejandro Garnacho is now being linked with a move away in Jan, it doesn't. It's a dangerous thing for him, but also it's a statement to everyone in Man United that nobody is safe. And I've heard people saying that one of the issues that Man United players, are suffering now is they are working on eggshells. That they are playing with a lot of pressure because everyone is not sure of what's bound to happen. I keep remembering the statements made by Nick Butt about Ruben Amorim, saying every player at Man United should fear for themselves because this guy is going to, is just going to, to shake that team. So for me, it's something to think about. You can think about it because if you look at it, Alejandro Garnacho has not been performing, but also Man United needs money. Listen, Man United has got to make money. Look at this. Manchester United's existing transfer debt, the money still owed to other clubs for deals, stands at £331 million. This is the highest ever level and has almost doubled in just 2 years. This is the amount of money Man United has got to pay. It is money that is owed to clubs. Remember, we got players like Ugarte, players like Delete. These are players for whom we did not pay full cash. The money was not there. And this is why our financial OPSR judgments are ugly. So if we are going to raise this money, it's certainly not going to come from Christian Eriksen or Casemiro or Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans. We've got to sell players who can attract money. So if you look at it that way, there are certain sacrifices that should be made if Man United is going to clear this debt. Otherwise, with this debt still clung on you, you're not going to move. But look at the Man United squad and all the players who would naturally want to leave. Look at players like Maguire. There are so many people who still want Maguire out. Look at players like Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof, name the Anthony, Marcus Rashford himself. How many of these players, what's the total amount of money you can logically get out of all those players? If you're going to clear this debt, but also be able to add on more signings if you want. We are now being linked with players like Ederson. So you realize that the situation is not easy. Certain players like Garnacho, ideally players Man United should be able to stand by and groom and tolerate a bit for a while and help them get better because they are young. You cannot write them off. You don't roll out a young player. But also, United needs money, and it's from players like Garnacho that Man United can be able to command a decent amount of money and ease a bit of their debt. Ease it a bit on their debt. So the books. That's why I do remember Sir Jim Ratcliffe mentioned at some time that he hired at Man United. There are probably more accountants than footballers currently. That was a figure of speech, but that's to show you that they have got to do everything in their power to do math, to do their math so smartly if they are going to be able to beat the PSR rules, but also get the club progressing in the direction it's got to go and be able to knock Man City and Liverpool off their purple patch in 3 years, like Sir Jim Ratcliffe promised. So you can see the tight situation the club is in. So you might think that the pressure is only on Amorim to get results and all, but there is a lot going on, guys. This club had been sunk so deep that when you think about it, you can't help but start again recalling, going back uh, the Glazers and how messy they are, how incompetent they are in terms of running such a big football club. It We sunk so deep, guys. Look at that, a 331 million pounds debt on players that we bought already. That money, I'm thinking players like Anthony. I told you about Gugat and Delete already. Lenny Yoro. All these players we did not pay full cash at once because it wasn't there. So all these are debts we're probably still paying for players uh, like Van der Beek, players who flopped. This is the mess the club is in. Now, should Garnacho go or not? For me, giving with that background that I've given you, I don't think Garnacho is untouchable. And I was telling you the same thing about Bruno. Good player, important player. I keep saying it that without Bruno in Man United, it looks shaky. But let me tell you, if at his age, if a club like Barcelona are seriously considering taking Bruno and they're going to give you some good cash, take it and rebuild because Man United now needs more cash than probably they need some of the current players now because it's the cash that is going to help them rebuild. Without the cash, United can't be able to do anything. So that's the tight situation the club finds themselves in. So for me, if the money and 60 million might sounds a bit little, of course, you perhaps say maybe 80 or 100 million, but you see, Garnacho's past performances and levels do not warrant 80 or 100 million pounds, honestly. Not in this financial fair play or PSR, era where every penny counts. It's difficult. Whereas he's young, 60 million would be a good deal. It would ease a bit on the debt, and you start from there, and then you add on the monies, the little monies you can get from players like maybe Rashford, who I don't think can command even more than 40 million. As such players. So what exactly is going to happen? We'll keep following this story. It's just a developing story, but it has come from a highly credible source. Of course, it's not done. Man United can refuse and say Garnacho is not sellable, but you do remember the famous untouchable list. Garnacho wasn't on the list, was he? He wasn't. So what is bound to happen? Let's wait and see. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the United of Sport.